You know that feeling when the world you've built crumbles right under your feet. But it's not fate doing the demolishing, it's your own blood? That's where it all started for me. Elena Harper. Stepping off that red-eye flight from Berlin. My bones aching from 2 years of grinding through international consulting gigs that had turned me into a ghost of my former self. I'd clawed my way up, saving every dime. Buying that cozy ranch-style house in the quiet suburbs of Austin, Texas, a place that was supposed to be my sanctuary after all the late nights and missed holidays. The sun was just cresting over the horizon as my Uber pulled up, casting long shadows across the lawn I'd once mowed myself. But something was off. Music pulsed from inside, low and rhythmic, like a heartbeat gone wrong. Laughter seeped through the cracks in the door. My key felt heavy in my hand as I turned it, expecting silence, solitude. Instead, I walked into a war zone disguised as a celebration. Bodies everywhere, cousins I hadn't seen since high school, aunts with their signature potluck dishes, kids running wild with sticky fingers smearing chocolate on my cream-colored walls. The air reeked of grilled burgers and spilled beer. My living room transformed into a makeshift dance floor with furniture shoved aside like afterthoughts. Balloons bobbed mockingly from the ceiling fan, and a banner screamed "Family Forever" in glittery letters that made my stomach twist. No one noticed me at first. I stood there, jet-lagged and invisible, as my sister, Mia, played hostess in my kitchen, ladling out chili like she owned the stove. Beside her, my father, Jack, clapped backs and poured drinks, his booming laugh echoing off the cabinets I'd refinished by hand. This wasn't my home anymore, it was their playground. And I was the uninvited guest. I wove through the crowd, my pulse thudding in my ears, until I reached Mia. She glanced up, her eyes widening just a fraction before settling into that familiar dismissiveness. "Elena? You're back already," she said, as if I'd interrupted her sacred ritual. "What the hell is this?" I whispered, my voice barely cutting through the noise. She shrugged, stirring the pot with casual indifference. "Oh, just a little get-together. Dad thought it was time we all reconnected. You've been gone forever, figured you wouldn't mind us using the space." Wouldn't mind? The words burned like acid. This house was mine, paid for with sweat and sacrifices they never acknowledged. I'd sent money home when times were tough, covered bills without a thank you. But now, they treated it like communal property, like my absence gave them rights. Dad sidled up then, a beer in hand, his face flushed. "Hey, kiddo, join the fun. We've missed this, real family time." His grin faltered when he saw my expression. "This is my house," I said, keeping my tone even. But inside, something was coiling tight, ready to snap. He waved it off. "Come on, Elena. Don't be so territorial. Family shares everything, right? You've got your fancy job overseas. We needed a spot to gather." The crowd swirled around us, oblivious, snapping selfies by my bookshelf, spilling drinks on the hardwood I'd polished to a shine. No apologies, no recognition of the boundaries they'd trampled. In that moment, the betrayal sank deep, a quiet poison spreading through my veins. They didn't see me as the owner, the provider, just a convenient absentee landlord. I nodded once, turned away, and retreated to my bedroom, the only room they hadn't invaded yet. But even there, the walls vibrated with their joy, mocking my isolation. That night, sleep evaded me like a traitor. I lay in the dark, the bass from downstairs thumping against my skull, replaying every slight, every time I'd bitten my tongue to keep the peace. Mia's endless demands for loans that were never repaid. Dad's lectures about how I was too independent, too focused on career over kin. They'd always taken assuming I'd give because that's what family did endure. But endurance has limits. And mine had fractured. By dawn, the house was a disaster, crumbs ground into carpets, stains blooming on upholstery. A broken vase I'd bought in Berlin shattered like my illusions. They slept it off, scattered on couches and floors, while I moved like a shadow, cataloging the damage with my phone's camera. Each photo was a nail in the coffin of my tolerance, evidence not for courts, but for my own resolve. The anger wasn't hot anymore. It had cooled into something sharper, more deliberate. Revenge wasn't about screaming. It was about silence. About actions that spoke louder than any confrontation. I contacted a real estate agent that morning. An old colleague named Carla who'd always admired my property flips. List it, I emailed her. Fast sale. Cash buyers preferred. No fuss. She called back within the hour. Her voice laced with surprise. Elena. Are you sure? This market's hot. But why the rush? I stared out the window at the hungover relatives stirring below. I'm sure. Get it done. As the family woke, groaning about headaches and planning brunch, I smiled politely, poured coffee, said nothing. They chattered about extending the party, about making this an annual thing. Mia even joked about crashing here more often. Your place is perfect for us. Dad nodded along, oblivious to the storm brewing. They had no idea the ground was shifting beneath them. I packed essentials quietly, documents, jewelry, a few mementos from my travels. The rest? Let it burn in their minds. The offer came faster than expected, $2.8 million from a young tech couple relocating from California. Drawn to the charming Austin vibe, I accepted without hesitation, signing digitally while Mia and Dad laughed in the next room over some old family story. The guilt flickered then. A whisper asking if I was going too far, if blood ties demanded forgiveness. But the memory of their dismissal drowned it out. This wasn't petty, it was survival. I'd been a silent supporter for years, swallowing resentment to avoid conflict. Now, the silence would be my weapon. They continued their bliss, planning barbecues, assuming my home was theirs forever. I let them. Why spoil the illusion when reality would hit harder? The closing date loomed like a guillotine. I moved out in stages, stashing boxes in a storage unit downtown, all while playing the gracious host. Sure. Stay another night, I'd say with a forced smile, as Mia invited more relatives over. Inside, the tension built. A slow simmer of anticipation and dread. What would they do when the rug was yanked? Beg? Rage? Or finally see me? The day the buyers arrived for the final walkthrough, chaos erupted. Carla pulled up with the couple, and I met them at the door, keys in hand. Mia froze mid-conversation, her face paling. What's going on? She demanded, eyes darting between us. Dad emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel. Elena? Who are these people? I met their stares evenly, my voice steady as steel. The new owners. The house is sold. Silence dropped like a bomb, then exploded. Mia's mouth gaped. You can't, you wouldn't. Dad's face reddened, veins bulging. This is insane. Where are we supposed to go? We're family. The relatives milling about stopped cold, whispers turning to shouts. Kids cried. Aunts clutched pearls. Cousins glared like I'd murdered hope itself. But I stood firm, the weight of years lifting off my chest. You treated this like your house. Now it's someone else's. The buyers shifted uncomfortably, but Carla ushered them through, noting damages they'd inherit. Mia grabbed my arm, tears streaking her makeup. Please, Elena. We didn't mean. We can fix this. Dad bellowed about betrayal. How I'd always been the selfish one. running off to Europe while they held the fort. Their words stung. Reopening old wounds of being the outsider, the one who achieved but was never celebrated. Only used. But I didn't crumble. You crossed a line, I said quietly. And now it's drawn. As the family scrambled to pack, arguments flared, Mia blaming Dad for the idea. Him firing back about her freeloading. Relatives scattered, muttering about that cold-hearted girl. I watched from the porch, a mix of vindication and sorrow twisting inside. This was the price of their entitlement. The reckoning for years of quiet erosion. The buyers took possession that afternoon, their moving truck blocking the driveway as my kin loaded cars with haphazard bags. Mia shot me one last pleading look. You're destroying us. No, I thought. You destroyed yourselves. Driving away, the Austin skyline blurring in my rearview. Freedom tasted bittersweet. The money hit my account, enough for a sleek condo in the city center, with views of Lady Bird Lake and no room for uninvited ghosts. I unpacked alone, the space echoing with possibility, not echoes of resentment. Work surged, clients valued my edge, the steel I'd forged from pain. But nights brought shadows, memories of Dad's rare proud smiles. Mia's childhood confidences before jealousy soured them. The psychological toll lingered, a dull ache reminding me that revenge, even justified, carved scars on the wielder too. I'd chosen solitude over suffering, but isolation whispered doubts. Had I gone nuclear when words might have sufficed? Word filtered back through mutual acquaintances, the family fractured, bouncing between motels and reluctant hosts. Mia crashed with friends, her pride shattered, picking up waitressing shifts to scrape by. Dad holed up in a cheap rental, his health dipping under stress, grumbling about ungrateful kids. They blamed me, of course, painting me as the villain in their tales around dwindling dinner tables. The guilt campaign started subtly, texts from cousins about forgiving for blood's sake, voicemails from Mia laced with sobs, begging for reconciliation. We need you, Elena. This is killing Dad. Each one tested my resolve, stirring the old urge to fix, to fold. But I held the line, responding sparingly. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Their persistence escalated, Dad showing up at my building one rainy night, pounding on the lobby door until security intervened. Let me in. You're my daughter, he roared, eyes wild with desperation. I watched from upstairs, heart pounding, the silence between us thicker than ever. You never saw me as one, I whispered to the empty room. The confrontation drained me, reopening the trauma of invisibility. But it solidified my choice. They had to face the void they'd created, the rot of their dynamics exposed without my home as a crutch. Weeks blurred into months, the harassment fading to sporadic pleas. I thrived in my new life, yoga classes at dawn, dinners with friends who saw me fully, projects that fueled my soul. Yet, the cost echoed, lost connections, the phantom limb of family. One evening, Mia appeared at my door, not demanding, but defeated, bags under her eyes, voice trembling. I get it now, she said. We took you for granted. Can we start over? I didn't invite her in, but I listened from the threshold, the air heavy with unspoken regrets. Maybe, I replied, but on my terms. No more silence when it hurts. She nodded, tears falling, and left without pushing. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, just a crack in the wall. The revenge had unraveled them. But it rebuilt me, teaching that sometimes the greatest act of self-preservation is letting go, even if the price is paid in quiet, lingering echoes of what might have been.